Oh, today is Wednesday, June 4th, 2025, and again, I'll be reading the daily devotional from the United Church of Christ and using a Christian text, Christian scripture, and relating it to just everyday life. This can be done with any sacred scripture from any tradition, and should be done, I think. The devotion for today is entitled Things Not Seen, and it was written by Yael Lachman. Yael bases the devotion upon Hebrews chapter 11, verse 1, New Revised Standard Version. Now faith is the assurance of things hoped for, the conviction of things not seen. And then Yael writes, we knew they were nearby as we raced up and down the river in our dragon boat. My teammates and I saw huge dams made of branches and mud. We saw sapling stumps expertly gnawed to a perfect point. Every autumn we marveled at the way new ponds would appear on once had been dry land. But in all our days on the river, we never once actually seen a beaver. This was not too surprising, since beavers are mainly active at night. So we shared photos of the burrows and lodges we spotted along the banks and passed around a waterlogged copy of Beaverland. But while it always gladdened our hearts to find evidence of their presence, what we really wanted was a face-to-face encounter with the creatures who, for millions of years, have been shaping and sustaining the very landscape of our lives. And so one evening in December, we gathered at the river. As quietly as possible, we slipped into the boat. Then we paddled out of the main channel and into the slough, where we were convinced the beavers would be busy with their winter preparations. Did we see them? Well, no. It was dark and foggy too. But we were close enough to them, slipping into the shadows and dripping as they climbed back out. We were close enough to hear them, slipping into the shadows and dripping as they climbed back out. Close enough to hear them chewing the bark off branches as they built their dens. We held our collective breath. We smiled until our faces ached. Our hearts were full. The ones we had hoped for were all around us, and it was enough. Yael's prayer. For the invisible holiness that runs through the very body of the world, for the sacred places that help us draw near, and for the friends who paddle beside us, thanks be to God. A couple things I thought about when I was reading this. Once I've seen beaver dams. I've never seen a beaver in the wild in person. I've seen films of them. In fact, many, many years ago, there was one of those movie theaters kind of in the round where the screen is all around you. It's three-dimensional. Exploring beavers, and it was fascinating to follow that along and see the world as a beaver sees the world. But the thoughts that came to my mind when I was reading this was how often so much of our lives are touched by things unseen, by people unseen, especially in our industrialized world. So much of what we have, virtually all of what we have, many, 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 many hands touched it to bring it to our place, to our possession, to our use, and we are blind to it. We don't see them. They're invisible to us, and I think it's helpful every now and then, again, to stop and think about that. For example, one of the things I try to do when I'm having a meal is just pause for a moment and in a form of prayer and try to envision all the people that were, and animals and creation that was involved in bringing that meal to my table. The farmers, the animals, the plants, the people working in various food factories and warehouses and stores and everything. And there's so many people involved in our food chain, in our industrialized world. And I think it helps to pause and give thanks to them. The other thing it made me think about is just being outside in nature and opening ourselves to hearing, to seeing, to smelling, being present in creation. I think with the advent of our electronics, we tend to even walk down the street looking at our screens and not paying attention to the sounds and smells and feels all around us in our neighborhoods and in the places that we live. and if you will, the sacredness of that, and the presence of the sacred in those things. So I think it's helpful to stop occasionally and just think about the things and the people that are invisible to us, that are all around us all the time, sustaining us. Anyway, my thoughts from this devotion for today. Hope it gives you something to think about and to pray about and to be present for, and hope to talk to you again soon.